Hello, my good friends. My name is Tumikladi, and welcome to my world of programming. So, what are we going to be talking about today? I have an agenda. Before we talk about agenda, may I kindly tell you about this YouTube channel of mine? It's a personal one where I build the identical dogs system using Xamarin Forms. It's very interesting. Now, all the content I'm currently making right now, all the videos are uploaded on Licensed Henny Tapes YouTube channel. Please go and watch them. Uninterrupted, short, simple, straight to the point. So, according to our agenda, we're going to do two parts, right? And please, I want you to watch all of them. The first one, we're going to talk about the routing system in ASP.NET Core Web API, right? Then the second part, we're going to talk about routing in .NET MAUI. How does a mobile application talk to a backend? Specifically looking at the routing system. So, I have something that I want us to read. According to Microsoft, routing in ASP.NET Core is responsible for matching incoming HTTP requests and dispatching those requests to the app's executable endpoint. Let me make an example, right? So I have both applications running. This is MVC. I want you to understand something about MVC, right? Now, as soon as I go to suggestions, this time I'm going to look at suggestions. If I click suggestions, right, I am asking that there's an incoming request. It's able to match that incoming request and dispatching a appropriate endpoint, right? For example, I can read those that are coming from the mobile application all the way to the back end into database. So this one is pulling from database, right? So how does it know? You see, this is routing. Suggestions, this guy alone. Even let me make an example of nervousness. You see, this whole thing, it's a routing. The name of the domain, the controller, and the name of the endpoint, and then I'm giving it something specific to say look for this suggestion based on the ID, right? So this is exposed nicely in what? In MVC. So firstly, you will need to go to controller. Let me quickly show that to you. Suggestions controller, right? And note something, it's protected, right? So this is the name of the controller, right? And then what I'm saying is go and get a specific one. So routing in MVC, they're internally yet publicly exposed, right? So but how does it know to get there? How does it know to get to this particular page, right? If I go back, how does it know to get there? I'm glad you asked. So let's go to the corresponding views of suggestions. There we go. If I go to the index, remember to see all of these guys, right? If I click on any of them, there's a route behind the scenes, and here it is. This is the URL. You see, this is the route. Exactly that. And I'm just gonna pass in what? An ID to say go and look for me for this specific suggestion. So in ASP.NET Core Web API, which is a backend, it's quite different, right? So let's go and now take a look at this one. Suggestions. And here are all the suggestions, right? But how do we get a specific suggestion, right? Firstly, let me go and get all suggestions. If I click try out and hit execute, there we go. These are all suggestions, right? But please note something. Let me show you how this works. We're going to go to controllers, V1, because Web API is a version the system, right? Tips. And then suggestions underscore V1 controller. Again, it is protected. So don't worry, I'm already authorized to do all of these things. But in here, the routing is different. I just executed the get all suggestions V1. How? It's because number one, it's an HTTP get. The same way that MVC, let's go quickly back to MVC. The same way that this guy to get all of them, it's decorated with HTTP get, right? And that one particularly to get a specific suggestion, it's decorated with HTTP get attribute. The same is true for Web API controllers, right? That the endpoints in each and every controller, you have to decorate them to say, are we submitting something, which is HTTP post? Are we trying to modify something, which is HTTP put? or are we trying to delete something which is HTTP delete, right? However, in web API, it's a bit different. It requires something else because there's an overload. So if I do this, you see, it wants, let's go here. It wants the name of the route, right? Or rather the endpoint that you want to access. So this one has a unique class that I have designed. So this is my way of designing this class. So I have this static class, API route underscore v1, right? So let's go to that class. It lives under contract rather for v1, API route underscore v1. It's a normal class, but it has some constants. First of all, we have the base, which is it knows where to point to, and then we have the version, which is this will be the version 1, right? So, and then inside I'm talking to suggestions. So there's an internal class inside the class. They're all static, right? So I'm saying, listen, you're gonna go and look for suggestions. It's a static class, and you're gonna go and look for get all suggestions by just hovering. Do you see that? From this class, you're gonna look for internal class. You're gonna go and access this constant a variable, right? And then this will point you to this route. So in a nutshell, what I'm asking is this guy. I'm asking for this. It will have a base / version and then this guy. So the way to visualize that in Swagger, remember we made a video about Swagger. This is it. This is the route / this is the route for me in order to get access to this guy, and this guy will allow me to retrieve this kind of data, right? But I want you to note something, because I was thinking about this. You need to understand something. Let's go to installers, and we made a videos regarding installers, what goes inside this folder, right? One of them is gonna be Swagger. In fact, not installer, sorry. Let's go to program class. The reason why I'm on program class, it's because I have a condition to say, if the app environment of this app is in development, yes, you can enable Swagger and activate the UI. That's why I'm running locally, because I'm running in development mode. So it allows me to enable Swagger and activate the UI. However, it's not the same for production, because there's no else here for production, meaning that you cannot access a Swagger in production. So the question is, how on earth does the mobile application know about these endpoints? How does it know about it? How does it know about feedbacks, where to submit the feedback, right? Because for feedback we have a post one feedback. How does it know to retrieve all the feedbacks? Same thing with suggestions. How does it know to pull all the suggestions? How does it know to get one specific suggestion based on the person who has submitted the suggestion? How does it know to submit a suggestion? How does it know to edit that one particular suggestion? How does it know to like or dislike a suggestion? So do you understand how the routing goes into ASP.NET Core Web API? They are internally yet private, because Swagger is not exposed in production. So how does it know? It knows via the routing system or the routing engine, and that is with the help of this class. Now with the part 2, I'm going to show you the similar class but for .NET MAUI, a mobile application. The reason being because they had to be similar, so please stick around for that. Again, just to recap, static class for version 1, we have the base. This can change anytime, and then the mobile application, the next version, will have a new route, a base route. And then the version 1, we also have a version 2 route. And then these are all of them. But if I want to talk to suggestions, I created an internal class, and then these are constant variables, all string, right? And then please note something. The syntax to get a specific one or a specific suggestion for a specific user, it's different for Web API than of MVC. Again, I can teach you all of this for 25 Rand per session. That session is an hour long. We are meeting on Microsoft Teams on weekdays. any day from Monday to Friday. If you know anyone or you might be interested, I'm gonna leave my numbers. This is what to expect when it comes to me teaching you. Thank you.